My name is Jonathan Hale, and if you had asked me 5 years ago whether I believed in soulmates, I would have laughed hard, because at that time, I thought I had already found mine. I thought I had built a life on love, trust, and loyalty. But I was wrong. The anniversary that shattered everything. It started on our 8th wedding anniversary. I had planned a romantic evening, reservations at the restaurant where we had our first date, a necklace I knew she'd love, and a slideshow of our memories. I wanted to remind Lillian of what we'd built. We had a thriving design firm together, a cozy home, and shared dreams. But when I looked into her eyes that night, something was missing. She was distant, distracted, offering polite smiles but not her usual warmth. My gut told me something was wrong, but I brushed it off. Maybe she was tired, stressed, or overwhelmed. Turns out, she was in love with someone else. 2 days later, I came home to find half her closet empty. No note, just silence. When I called, she picked up and calmly said, "I've left, Jonathan. Travis and I are going to start fresh. I haven't been happy for years." Travis, her high school sweetheart, the one who sent her that message after the reunion. I should have seen it coming. The emotional wreckage. I didn't cry that night. I didn't even drink. I just sat on the floor of our bedroom, the necklace still in my pocket, staring at the emptiness she'd left behind. She not only abandoned me but walked away from the company we built. She filed a lawsuit to claim half of it, even though she'd barely contributed in the last 2 years. She wanted the house, the car, the dog. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was surgical. Friends we once shared stopped calling. The silence was loud, and the nights even louder. I went from having a wife and a business partner to being the sad guy everyone pitied. That's when Ava Bennett entered my life. The quiet strength of a stranger. I had seen Ava before. She was the marketing consultant who occasionally dropped by for meetings. She was always polite, sharp, and unnoticed. But one rainy evening, she showed up at my door with homemade chicken soup and a small smile. "Don't let it go to waste," she said, placing it on my table. I hadn't eaten in 24 hours. "I'm not here to fix you, Jonathan," she said before leaving. "Just here to remind you that you still matter." That small gesture became the first of many. She'd drop by with food, stay to watch old comedies, talk about anything but my divorce. Slowly, I started opening up. I told her about my parents, about losing my brother in a car accident, about the time Lillian and I danced in the rain. Ava never judged. She never offered cliches. She listened. She stayed. And then one night, as we stood in my kitchen, she kissed me. Then immediately slapped me. "You needed that," she said. We both laughed through the awkwardness, but something shifted that night. She wasn't a rebound, she was my rebirth. Building something real. We didn't rush things. We started taking walks, sharing dreams, laughing more than I ever had. She became my peace. One night, while watching a documentary about ancient cities, I looked over and knew I was in love again. Exactly 1 year after Lillian left, I proposed. Nothing fancy. Just me, Ava, a ring, and the words, "You made me believe again." She said yes with tears in her eyes. Then, to my shock, handed me a prenup. "This protects you," she said. "I'm not here for your business, your assets, or your past. I'm here for your future." I was floored. I trusted her completely, and that trust grew deeper every day. The past comes knocking. Just when life felt stable again, Lillian reappeared. Ava and I were planning our wedding when she showed up at my doorstep, looking worn down and furious. "You just replaced me. Like that," she spat. Ava didn't flinch. "He didn't replace you. You left. You gave up on someone most women dream of finding." "I gave up everything for Travis," Lillian said, breaking down. "And where is he now?" I asked. "Gone. He used me. He had a family in Arizona. I was just a side project." There was no gloating in my voice, just calm. "You made your choice." Lillian tried to stir the past, asking if we could be friends. Ava stepped in. "You don't get to hurt him and then hang around for the aftermath. He's not your safety net." We watched Lillian walk away, this time for good. And that's when I realized, closure doesn't come from an apology. It comes from building something stronger in the ruins. A life worth living. Ava and I married in a garden surrounded by blooming wildflowers. It wasn't flashy, just heartfelt. Her father cried. I did too. She joined my business and tripled our revenue within a year. We built a lake house, got a dog, and 2 years later, welcomed our daughter, Eliza. Then came Nathan and Caleb, our mischievous twin tornadoes. And finally, baby Grace. Our home was full of toys, noise, love, and healing. For a decade, life was everything I never dreamed I'd have again. Then came the diagnosis. Cancer. Ava fought hard. She never let the kids see her cry. She still made lunchbox notes for the twins and sang lullabies to Grace even when she was too weak to stand. I stayed by her side through every treatment. One night, near the end, she whispered, "If this is the end, I'm not afraid. You gave me a lifetime in 10 years. I'll find you in the next one," I whispered back. She passed with a smile, her hand in mine. Losing Ava shattered me more than Lillian ever could. But I wasn't alone this time. I had my children. I had memories that brought both pain and comfort. Every birthday, every bedtime story, she was there, in the stories we told, the food we cooked, the way our children laughed. 6 months later, I ran into Lillian at a bookstore. She looked lost. She apologized for everything, and I accepted it. But when she asked if there could ever be something again, I said, "I'm still married, Lillian. Ava may be gone, but she's still mine." She nodded, a sad smile on her lips. "She was everything you needed." "Yes," I said, "and more." 10 years later, I was having lunch with Eliza and Grace when my heart gave out. There was no pain, just peace. And in that final moment, as the room faded, I saw her. Ava. She looked just like she did the first time she kissed me, strong, luminous, beautiful. "Jonathan," she said, reaching out. "I missed you so much," I whispered. She smiled. "I know. But now, forever begins." And hand in hand, we walked into eternity, finally home.